Meet the 2010 Ford F-150 Raptor, a V8 sidewinding piece of ballistics forged from the competition and built to dominate any terrain. If you've been wondering why Ford's special vehicle team has been quiet for a few months, this is it. The boys and girls at SVT took a new look at the F-150 and decided to show the competition that off-road means more than taking a few PR shots in the woods. Ford's engineers wound up creating a street-legal trophy truck. Under the hood, there's a 5.4-liter Triton V8 with 310 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. But this truck's real story isn't behind the headlights. It's in the fender wells. There's 11.2 inches of travel in the front and a heady 13.4 inches of reach out back, thanks to specifically designed Fox racing shocks.
All right, what makes this truck build so exciting is not just that it's a total frame-off restoration. It's a performance build. This truck is scheduled with its new supercharger and forged lower components to have over 540 pounds of torque and approaching 800 horsepower. We've built the truck to survive some pretty serious conditions for a salesperson who's cruising around Indianapolis. We had hoped this project would begin in the end of August. And though Indy Roof Company and I had begun to discuss all the possibilities of scheduling and getting the truck to us sooner, it just didn't work out that way. So we did not receive the truck until August 29th. In the present climate we are with COVID and shipping related issues related to COVID, we were in for a wild ride. We had no idea what we were up against. I've always been an optimist and I've always been hopeful. And when I call these parts people, I tell them the story. I go, hello, this is Tyler Roach. We're working on the Indy Roof Company Gen1 Raptor, and it's to participate in the Snowball 2021 off-road event. Is there any way you can get my parts to me sooner? Most of them went like this. In the design of this build, we had to incorporate and work with several partners and many vendors across the United States to help make this build possible. We had to pull parts from all the way across the country. Companies like SVC Off-Road, Fabtech Motorsports, AHE Performance, Elderbrock, SCT Tuning, Moog, ARP Fasteners, Morimoto, Mishimoto Radiators, Mishimoto Coolers, AHE Transmission Deep Sump Pan, Canton Deep Sump Oil Pan. AccuFab has supplied us with some custom billet parts to help us install this engine. So that's been our first biggest challenge. It's just interacting with vendors and manufacturers and trying to get every single thing we needed for this truck on time. Well, first was teardown and a demo day. We really had to get this thing tore down and see what we were working with. We really needed to get down to a blank canvas, see what was really going on. And that's usually where the devil comes out. The devil's always in the details. We were to take the frame and completely remove all the rust, remove all the suspension components, all electrical, and strip it down to the bare bones and start off with a true blank canvas. Once we got the frame apart, we got it stripped down, we were able to get cleaned up and primer and really straightened up and ready, and we began to paint the frame and get it in the color that you see it in now. Moving away from the frame, we will begin our projects on the cab next. The cab and the bed are being completely restored underneath. All rust and debris is being removed and being re-underbody coated and painted. The running boards are to be restored and remounted with new hardware. The underbody coating we're using is a epoxy. It's like a rocker panel cover, and we are painting over that, and we are restoring and replacing the heat shields underneath the cab as well. Along with some really neat things inside the cab. We are installing and upgrading the original Ford Sync system with a Android 9 screen that will take the original space of the factory original radio. Another fantastic upgrade that's occurring inside of this 2010 Gen1 Raptor is a 2018 Generation 2 Raptor steering wheel conversion that accommodates paddle shift. However, 2010, the transmission in this chassis did not accommodate the paddle or select shift systems that Ford introduced in 2011. So we've planned to do a Generation 2 6R80 transmission conversion with a standalone transmission controller from USShift, known as the Quick Shift Transmission Controller. Implementing that transmission 6R80 transmission swap is very challenging. It requires you to install your own computer, your own programming, and to connect and integrate the controller with other components and systems inside the vehicle. So that's a big challenge for us, and we're excited to broach that and to find success there. And we're looking forward to those really fast shifts in the bend. We wanted to make the engine a little bit stronger, so we started off with a forged lower engine build, meaning consisting of a balanced crankshaft, custom I-beam forged rods from Manley. These cylinder heads are beautiful. They do a great job at liver noise. They go in and they CNC port and chamber the head, and then they mill out and put in larger valve seats. And they set these engines up for NRHA and circle track racing and drag racing, but they're very efficient. And so this was a good buy for us. We bought into this cylinder head. We sent the heads up to Detroit to have them repaired, and we sent the engine off to have the engine work done. And it was imperative that if we were going to do a supercharger build on this truck, that we strengthen the lower end. We make that lower end as strong as possible. We had come up with a few components that would make the bottom end really strong for a good price too. When this truck was first marketed and brought to the American public, it was done so in this livery, in this molten orange color. If you go back and look at all of the original press releases for this truck and the way they sold this truck nationwide, they did it with this truck's body and in this color. So one of the reasons why this cab and the bed are special is not just because it's a Ford Raptor, but it's because of the color, this molten orange. And when you're in the proximity of Raptor aficionados, they all gawk and they look at the truck like, oh, I wish mine was molten orange too.
The F-150 Raptor is setting a new standard in off-roading right off the showroom floor.